Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephanie Bishop. I'm one of the information officers here on the Eaton fire. Thank you for joining us at our community meeting. Currently, we're at 13,950 acres with 3% containment, and we do have over 1,600 personnel working on this. We're going to do a brief meeting tonight. We're going to go through some operational updates, some buyer behavior, as well as weather, and we do have several representatives from the agencies that we're working with in unified command on this. To start us out, we're going to start out with operations update with Section Chief Ernie Villa.
Good evening. So for current situation here on the Eaton fire, I'll start off over here on the west side of the fire. The fire remains a little bit active out here on the west side of the fire. Crews are currently trying to go direct around the west side of the shoulder of the fire and continuing to look for options to go direct. The terrain out here is pretty difficult and challenging, so they're trying to find options how to tie this back up into Mount Low. The fire remains pretty active along the edge all the way up to Mount Low. As you come across here down into the drainages, the fire is still pretty active as you come back up coming towards Mount Wilson. Fire is along the Mount Wilson Road all the way out towards Mount Wilson, and then the fire remains below the road near Mount Wilson as it heads south. As you head south of Mount Wilson, on the Mount Wilson Road, the fire has crossed to the east side of the road, and we do have fire that's hanging up low in the drainages down on the east side there. As you come down that flank there, we've been using aircraft half the day when we've had available visibility and we've had no winds. We're using aircraft to put the fire's edge out, supporting hand crews and dozers that are trying to work to go direct on the fire's edge. As you come down into the Chantry Flat area, crews came up direct along the fire's edge, trying to go direct on that piece there as well, coming out of the reservoir. We do have contingency work going on outside of the main fire perimeter. That'll continue in the event that the fire outflanks our current position. As you come along around the bottom of the fire here, the fire is still a little bit active, more on the interior of the fire, coming along to where you see the black line here on the map. The black line indicates containment, where we've stopped the fire spread. As you come west past that point, the fire continues to be a little bit active, mostly on the interior of the fire, inside the fire perimeter. Coming along here, still continuing to mop up and secure tactical patrol in this area with a lot of our ground resources and structured defense pretty much along the whole bottom portion of this fire here. As you come up along this section here, this is where the fire made the biggest push during the initial attack phase of the fire. This is where most of our efforts are currently occurring with all of our ground resources in this general area. So if you're in that area, we do have a huge influx of resources coming in there. Just be mindful of their presence. As you come around the corner of the fire, crews looked at going direct, and they're continuing to come up the fire's edge here to try to continue the direct efforts coming up and around the main fire's edge. With that, that'll end the report. Thank you.
Thank you for the update. Our next update will be from our fire behavior analyst, Dennis Burns.
Good afternoon, Dennis Burns, Fire Behavior Analyst for California Interagency Incident Management Team 5. Ernie kind of covered pretty well what's going on out on the fire's edge. The big difference today from the past several days is we've lost the wind influence. Palisades this morning was under the wind influence. We're kind of in a shadow here, and during a typical Santa Ana event, we don't normally see significant wind impacts here like we did when the fire initially started. Having said all that, where Ernie was explaining where crews are going direct on the fire, that's the biggest thing with the lack of wind. Our crews are actually able to go direct on the fire's edge because the fire is not burning super intensely. It's active, but it's really not pushing them, so it's giving them opportunities to go direct where they can. It's very steep, rugged terrain. There's some areas that they just plain cannot go direct on. So, they'll have to back off and let the fire come to them. Let me talk a little bit about conditions right now. One of the indices that we use is called the energy release component. It's a combination of live and dead fuels and their availability to burn Right now, we're sitting at the 95th percentile, so there's only 5% of the days that are worse than today. And it's January. These are conditions we would expect to see September, October. So, everything out there is available to burn, and it is burning. I just looked at one of the weather stations. I think it was like 0.43 inches of rain we've had so far this season. So not a lot of rain. That explains the availability of the fuels. So in the absence of wind, we're not expecting the fire to make any significant pushes. It's going to remain pretty active until we can get line on it. But without the wind, we're not expecting the fire to significantly move at all. The main areas where we have the potential are with the lack of wind, the fire is going to want to burn upslope rather than downslope like it did with the wind. So we may see a little bit of movement over here and a little bit up in this Mount Wilson and Mount Low area. End of report.
Thank you for that fire update. Our next update will be from the weather, James White.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is James White. I'm the incident meteorologist here on the incident. And as the incident meteorologist, my job is to provide localized and detailed weather information to ensure both firefighter and public safety, but to also aid in planning for the fire and for the incident. Now, this whole event, one reason it really started was all because of weather, right? And so we saw those extreme winds just a couple days ago as they blew through the area. Thankfully, as you heard from the fire behavior analyst, those winds have been backing off day by day. And as we've headed through the day today, winds have been pretty calm, especially at the lower elevations around the fire. We did have some gusty wind there up top early this morning, and even that is back down now as well. So that's good news. It's provided lots of opportunity for improved conditions all around the fire. As we head through tomorrow, we'll keep those moderated conditions into the future, but we are going to have another red flag period, likely early Sunday morning, so late tomorrow night into early Sunday morning. Again, we're pretty sheltered here, so while the mountains are going to see really strong winds again, we're not expecting any strong winds like what we saw down here. So most of the area will be sheltered, and we won't see very poor conditions. We'll keep those moderate conditions into early next week. We are tracking the potential for another Santa Ana wind event around Tuesday. That event looks a little bit stronger. So some of those conditions with that event, we could get some of those stronger winds mixing back down. Some of the higher end scenarios show some there, and the weather will eventually turn in our favor.
Thank you, James. So that's going to be our update regarding the fire. Now we're going to go into a little bit about evacuation and safety update with Los Angeles County Sheriff Office, Captain Williams.
Hello, I'm Jabari Williams, Captain of Altadena Sheriff Station. So just a little information I want to give. The Sheriff's Department, we have over 500 deputies deployed to Altadena alone. We're also including 30 National Guards to help with traffic control at certain points, and also approximately 19 California Highway Patrol officers that's also helping with certain points throughout Altadena. Each officer has been given what we call missions. These missions means that they are assigned certain specific tasks. They go out to make sure that they are completed, and once completed, they move on to another mission. We have several personnel available to respond if need so. Another update I want to give, we're going to start doing grid searches throughout the area. That's supposed to start tomorrow. Once that starts, we have a plan in place, and we'll be able to check structures for damage to see if there's any other emergencies that are needed in the area. I want to make sure that everybody knows that if you have loved ones or friends and you want to report them missing, you can certainly do so. You have to physically go to 300 East Green Street in Pasadena. That's the Pasadena Civic Center, and you can actually make out a report. Once we get that report, we will investigate it just like any other missing report. That means having to go out to the certain areas just to check specifically at that residence. We will certainly do so. I want to make sure I reiterate that all of Altadena is considered an evacuation zone. That means everybody should have been evacuated. I understand there are some people that are still in the areas. If they need assistance in any way, they can call the Sheriff's Department, and we will make sure that we provide the assistance specifically to get them out of the area. Also, road closures. No one is allowed into Altadena at this time. I understand there may have been some rumors spread that if you have your ID, you can come in. That is not the case. As of right now, all of Altadena is still considered an evacuation area, and all of the roads are closed for people coming in. So please, we're just asking everyone to stay out of the area. We do have a repopulation plan coming in place. So once everything's secure, we will make sure that we stick around once we start letting everybody in. It's not like we're just gonna walk away and tell you, oh, it's okay to go in. That could cause problems. So we will have personnel in place, and we will do extra patrols just to make sure you guys are your property is still protected. That's all I have for now.
Thank you, Captain Williams, for that information. So that's going to move us into some utilities questions. We do have representatives from all the utilities place. We're going to start out with California, or Southern California Edison, with Cody Tubbs and Troy Whitman.
Good afternoon. Cody Tubbs, Director of Local Government Affairs for Southern California Edison. Joined today with my colleague Troy Whitman from SC Fire Management Services. Just want to start with a few words on behalf of SCE about these tragic last few days. Though all of us at SCE, we've been living these tragic events alongside our communities. We have team members that have been evacuated, and sadly, team members who've lost their homes and left with just the shirt on their back and animals and not much else. So we feel the pain amongst our communities. We know it's an incredibly challenging time, and it's been heartbreaking for all of us at Southern California Edison as we share in this very difficult period with many of the communities that we serve that were impacted by these very significant, very severe, and unprecedented wind events that we've seen nothing like it in at least the last decade. I know that extended power outages are a hardship for our customers. I do want to share the most updated information we have in terms of the number of our customers that are currently out. As of 3 p.m. this afternoon, I can report that across the Southern California Edison service area, out of 5 million total customer accounts, we are down to 172,000 that are without power, of which 120,000 of those are because of public safety power shutoffs, where we have extreme wind events. We've had to de-energize circuits until conditions abate, and we can safely patrol the lines and re-energize our customers and keep our communities safe by trying to mitigate the risk of wildfires. I can also share that since the beginning of these events, Southern California Edison has re-energized a total of 406,000 customers. Of those, 190,000 were customers who did have their power turned off because of public safety power shutoffs, who have now been restored. We also know that our customers want to see their power restored quickly. I can share we will restore power as quickly as it's safe to do so. As reference, we have thousands of field personnel who are currently deployed, trying to re-energize as many customers as we can, as quickly as we can once it's safe. I can also share we have brought in mutual aid assistance from another utility to augment our resources. And just here, working the Eaton fire, I can share this statistic just came in. We have 46 line crews dedicated right now, boots on the ground, trying to restore customers who've had power turned off because of the Eaton fire. So we're focused on deploying as many resources as we can with safety as our number one priority. I do want to share, and it was mentioned earlier in the weather update, we are expecting additional dynamic, potentially dangerous winds, additional red flag conditions. This could mean customers that have had their power restored are again facing public safety power shutoffs. We know that's a hardship. I want to underscore at SCE, we use public safety power shutoffs as a tool of last resort. We only turn off power when it's necessitated to keep our communities safe. We do everything we can, and the last thing any of us want to do is to be turning off power. But I think the winds of the last few days and these dangerous, unprecedented, and very sad and tragic events remind us that we need to put safety first, and we will continue to do that at SoCal Edison as we face what we expect to be at least a challenging period through the weekend and into early next week with additional dynamic and potentially dangerous winds. Troy, anything you want to add that I didn't cover?
I would just add that we've been embedded with the incident management team here on the Eaton fires since early stages of the fire, working 24 hours a day side by side with the incident management team, providing for public and first responder safety, helping them address the challenging conditions of this fire.
Thank you. That's the end of our report.
Thank you, guys. Next, we'll have from SoCal Gas, Roger Schwitzky, the Chief Infrastructure.
Yeah, good afternoon, and thanks for allowing me to say a few words. First, I'd like to start, the events that have occurred over the last couple of days obviously are unprecedented, and the impact it's had on the communities in Southern California is just devastating. SoCal Gas stands with each and every one of the individuals that has been impacted and the other associated community members that may have family and friends that have been impacted, because the devastation is so widespread. We've had employees impacted, we've had their family and friends impacted, and we look to continue to provide the safe, reliable service. Because I start with safe because safe is what we look as we continue to provide service and how we move forward. With respect to the Eaton fire, once we were able to go into the area, when it became safe to go into the area, we basically deployed several hundred people to assess the situation, and actually started doing some work to try to make the system safe. There's been a lot of discussion about flames off of our facilities. Those flames are really causing most homes that have been destroyed and aren't really stable when it's on fire. I know people won't believe that, but for me, it's better to have a known flame than an unknown gas leak. And we're continuing to work towards that. However, we're at a situation now that as we get farther into the area and assess the situation, the devastation and damage to our facilities, we're looking at that we may have to take a little more drastic action and shut off service to a wider area. Now, what that means is, yes, those areas that are impacted with that immediate issues will be addressed, but it will also impact customers that are not impacted by the fires. And then we will start the process of trying to surgically restore service to those customers where it's safe to do so. We do this only for safety, and that is the issue that we want. We want to make sure everyone's safe, and I'll be happy to answer your questions later in the event. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that information. That completes our presentation for utilities, but we do have several utility units here that can answer questions when we get to our question and answer. Right now, our next speaker is going to be Chief of Pasadena, Chief Augustine.
Good afternoon, Chad Augustine with Pasadena Fire. For my Pasadena residents that were impacted by this fire, we grieve with you. My team and I are working around the clock to ensure that all impacted residents have every available service that's necessary so that we can fully recover. I'm pleased to announce that today that almost all of our evacuation orders have been lifted. Please be patient with us over the next couple hours as we allow our residents back into their homes. The small areas that were with evacuation orders that were not lifted is truly only because it's not safe to do so. Your Pasadena City leadership and fire department are committed to be with each of you as we rebuild and repair our community to the Pasadena that we know and love. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that message. Our next speaker is going to be our Board of Supervisor, District 5, Catherine Barger.
Thank you. And with me, I have Victoria Knapp and Nick Arnzen with the Altadena Town Council. Why don't you come over here? First of all, I just have to say I'm going to let them say a few words, because I know that they've been the boots on the ground talking to all the residents. But one of the issues that I've learned about is that for people that are applying online for FEMA reimbursement, you're getting denied. We have been in contact with Washington. What they're saying is if you identify that you have insurance, you will get denied. It's a glitch that they are fixing, but do not feel that denial is real. They want you to reapply because you are not being denied, but the insurance is what is creating the denial. So please, we're working on it. I'm working with FEMA to make sure that happens, but I want to get the word out because I know on Facebook there are a lot of people talking about the fact that they had their ask denied, and we are working on that. I also want to let you know that we are actually in the process of working on a strategy to rebuild. I talked to the community, I was out there, and the one question I get asked, and even today coming here, someone who lost their home, is when are we going to be able to rebuild, and please don't tell us it's going to take a long time. So I'm making this commitment to you today. We're beginning that process. We are going to work with you, work with our incredible town council. Two of the members here, Victoria and Nick, lost their homes. So this is something that that they understand all too well. So with that, I want Victoria to say a few words on behalf of the town council. Victoria?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Victoria Knapp. I'm the chair of the Altadena Town Council. I want to speak directly to the residents and business owners of Altadena. The Altadena Town Council is deeply saddened and heartbroken from the catastrophic damage caused by the Eaton fire. Our town has been forever changed by the destruction, and many of us, including council members, have lost our homes and businesses. We grieve alongside each one of you who have been affected by this disaster. Our schools, churches, restaurants, parks, water reservoirs, and many cherished historic buildings have been lost, some of which can never be replaced. We want you to know that you are not alone. We stand in solidarity with you during this incredibly difficult time. The spirit of Altadena lies in its residents, and we are committed to working tirelessly to bring you the most up-to-date information possible. We are still in the early stages of this recovery, and we will soon begin to heal and rebuild together. Thank you.
Thank you. You want to say anything, Nick?
No.
Okay. So with that, I just want you all to know that working together, we are going to get through this. And I know there are questions that came in. We've got Public Works here talking about debris removal. They'll be introduced in a minute. But please continue to communicate with us. If there are issues, let us know. I know one of the confusions right now is, and I actually was given information or misinterpreted information, that people were actually, if they had ID, were being allowed back into the area. And in fact, the captain clarified that. But we are going to work when it is safe and when we are able to get people back in. I promise you, we are going to make it a priority for the residents up there to be able to get back up and do an assessment in terms of their property and to allow them access back to the community. So that is at the top of my list right now. So with that, thank you. You want to say something?
Will add.
Okay.
I just want the residents of Altadena to know there's some rumors going on about a vigil. I'm not sure if others are planned, but they probably the seeds of that. The town council is planning a gathering. We're just trying to work out the details. So pay attention to altadenatowncouncil.org where we will announce that. We're also going to have a banner at the top of the page. We'll gather up all this great resources and we'll make sure you know what to do and what's coming next. We're going to keep on this and we're going to stand by each other. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you guys for talking with us. Next, we're going to have our incident commanders close us out, Alex Macbeth and Kevin Bohall.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Alex Macbeth. I'm one of the Unified Incident Commanders on the Eaton fire. To my right is Kevin Bohall, another incident commander that is working with me. I want to speak to you real quick about Unified Command. This fire is in a Unified Command organization. What that means is we have multiple commanders that represent their jurisdictions that are either threatened or have been damaged by this fire. You have some of the best from all over California working with this team right now. We don't have one team. There's no CAL FIRE team, there's no Forest Service team, there's no county team. Right now it's one team that has everybody from the state, the federal, the county, and even your local cities that are on it right now. As the Unified Commanders, and speaking for the Unified Commanders, we are here to help. We put together an organization that can get a lot done, and we expect that a lot's going to get accomplished over the next 4 to 5 days. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Kevin to speak about some other objectives.
Yeah, obviously we've talked about the gravity of this incident. Obviously it's much more than a wildland incident, which it initially was. That's initially what we came up with, the incident command structure. So understand that under our unified command, we're looking at the best outcome that we can for values at risk and then values that are impacted. And over the next coming weeks and or days and weeks and then into months, part of the goal is to get ready for the recovery effort. So right now, yeah, we're fighting a wildland fire. All these other values at risk and values that have been impacted that we've spoken of previously are all things that we're looking at in order to get the best outcome we can for the citizens of Los Angeles County.
Thank you guys for all that information. So that's going to conclude our speakers, but before we leave, we do have several question and answers that we're going to get into now. I do want to state that this is Unified Command, so we do have representatives from everybody that is Unified Command that will be able to address the questions as they come. Some of the questions I would like to address myself, just so that we can make sure this is out of the emails that we received from you and some of the ones that came online. One of the questions was, when will water, gas, and power be returned? As some of our spokesperson have stated, it's going to be returned as soon as it's safe for everybody, and so that'll be an ongoing dynamic. One of the other questions was, how can you find out if your home is still standing? We do have a DIMS team that has been established and out there working. Once that DIMS team grabs the information, they're going to be creating a website for you guys to go to. Once that website's created, please go to the Angeles National Forest or the Los Angeles County Fire social media pages, and that information will be put on there. And that is also going to answer the question of what's the best method to receive information. That's going to through the Angeles National Forest social media page and the Los Angeles County Fire social media pages. I'm going to have, for our question and answers, we're going to start right now with our Public Works, and we're going to have our Director of Operations for Public Works come up and talk with Mark.
Good afternoon. I'm Mark Pastrella. I'm the Director of Los Angeles County Public Works, and I'm here representing not only our department, we provide services across Altadena community, as well as interconnected with Pasadena and the surrounding cities. So I'm here to talk to you a little bit about recovery and where we are at that, and I understand there's a few questions about water, so I'll get to that in a second. We are still in an active incident, and I know a lot of people are hungry to get back to their homes, and in fact, LA County Public Works, along with the utility companies, gas, water, and power, have today officially been allowed entry to the site to take a look and analyze where we are in terms of your safety and returning to the site. We are not quite ready to authorize re-entry to the area based on the hazard that still exists within the street system for those of you that have been evacuated. Those hazards include ash, fallen trees, debris, hazardous materials still on site. Much of the material that's burned to the ground will be considered toxic and has to be handled properly. And we want to get that handled before we have anybody go in and get exposed to unhealthy soil and or water or air. So we are, however, I want everyone to know that we are aware that people will want to get back to their homes quickly. So let me give you a little bit of an update about what we learned about the Eaton fire. Again, 13,956 acres is what I have, some percentage of containment. The water supply system throughout the burn areas, not only here but in the other west side of town, continues to be in question. There is currently a state order requiring all water agencies to call for no drinking of the water. So the water quality has been degraded to the point that the state is concerned about that quality for human consumption. So we are continuing to ask you under state order not to drink the water at this time. Someone asked whether or not that water can be, when will that be lifted? The typical timeline for that is once we get the treatment up and running again and in good shape, it usually takes 48 hours before we can actually all clear. We don't have, several of the water companies here are not quite ready yet in terms of their water treatment to begin that clock. So I don't have a very good estimate for you when you should start drinking that water. So for all intents and purposes, and for your own safety, we recommend you do not drink the water. It may not, someone also asked whether or not they can bathe in the water. It may not even be advisable to do that, just out of abundance of caution. Getting water on your skin is not a problem. It's consuming it that we would be concerned about, the pathogens that may be in there, or the ash and toxics that might be in the water. So we have a water quality issue ongoing. Within your neighborhoods, there are many, many fallen trees, and there are trees that are still in place that will most likely fall over with any level of wind. So we are going to be assessing those trees that are a hazard to humans and start our process of clearing the street tree system, and that should happen within the next week. We would probably begin Monday, starting to take down what we consider removing trees and taking trees not from your private property but along the public right-of-way to clear that. We have signals down, and there's too many to note to cite, but there are signals down all over the area, and those are being restored as we speak. So we're asking from the Public Works perspective for you to not to obey all traffic and controlled intersections. We have some of the intersections that are being controlled by officers, and it's very, very important that you know they're there, first of all, but second, that you know, remind yourselves about what it is to stop at a four-way stop, and that the officer has the absolute authority for the movement. So if you are venturing this area, you are going to come to roadblocks. Those are going to eventually be continue to be provided by Public Works agencies and manned by law enforcement, and law enforcement has the authority to allow you to enter or not. So the area has suffered a tremendous blow. Your private property has suffered a tremendous blow, and all of you have had an emotional event occur in your lives. I speak from personal experience. I know what it is to lose a home, and I know for me, and I'm sure for you, it's going to be a very difficult process you're going to go through. It's an emotional one, and I understand, as all the others do here behind me, that you have every right to want to get back to your property, every right to, and it's understandable you want to get there, and we are here standing ready to get you back in those properties. For the communities of Altadena, LA County Public Works will be establishing a Public Works site within the community, an actual office. We'll start with a mobile office, and then we'll start with a permanent office. It will become a Public Works district office. We will be issuing building permits, encroachment permits, and we will be coordinating the utility companies within the community. We will be also involved with contractors and making sure contractors are following the rules and laws as they perform the work to restore the community. So you will see a big Public Works presence throughout the Altadena community beginning this weekend and at full force come Monday. I want to thank our utility companies that are here, that are working with us in coordination. That includes Southern California Edison, Southern California Gas. They have asked for and gained permission to your properties to cut off, to take hazardous lines from the ground, and also to cut off the gas so you don't see those flares happening any longer. So we would ask that you be patient with the utility companies. We know they're there. They've gone there with our permission, and they are doing the work of restoring your community to a safe place to build. On the rebuild, you will be getting, in LA County territory, expedited plan check. We will be considering reduction in fees, and we will start that process as soon as you are ready to submit. So that is already in place, and I want to just say that under the leadership of Supervisor Barger, of course, she's made this whole area a major priority, and all of the departments of Los Angeles County are ready to stand up this area back up and restore you stronger than you were before, even better the way we left it. So again, my heart goes out to all of you, and I'm ready to answer questions at the Q&A period. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. A couple of questions came up that are FEMA related as well as donations related. So in a minute, I'm going to bring up our Board of Supervisor, Catherine Barger, to answer that. But I want to clarify, I answered one of the questions regarding the DIMS team. DIMS is our disaster assessment teams that are coming out, so that's what DIMS represents. So now I'm going to ask for Catherine Barger to come up and talk about the FEMA and some donations.
Yeah, thank you. People are asking about a clarification on what I said about the FEMA claims. Yes, you will get the denial because you have insurance, and it says, should you reapply or mark that we don't have insurance? And what I'm told is that you should reapply. And again, working with FEMA, we're going to have an update. I'm on this, and tomorrow at our briefing, I will provide as much information as I get in real time. But make no mistake, I'm working on it, but you should reapply. And then we're getting questions regarding donations. And what I would ask is, please do not come and drop water off, even though I know it's out of the goodness of your heart. If you want to give financially, you can give to reputable organizations like the Red Cross, but you can also visit laworks.com/2025fires. Again, laworks.com/2025 and you can find lots of ways to get involved, whether it be through Project Angel Food, whether it be regarding the area, the agencies that are taking in the pets. So I would encourage you to go there, but please make sure any organization that you work with is reputable. There are companies and firms out there that are preying on individuals, and I want to make sure that we provide resources to credible nonprofits. So if you have any questions, again, laworks.com/2025fires. Thank you.
Thank you for that. This next question is going to be for our operations. What steps are being taken to ensure remaining structures in the burned areas will not be affected or destroyed by upcoming winds next week? So I'm going to bring back our operations section chiefs.
Good afternoon, Brian Ham from Operations Group. I think that's a very good question. Fortunately, we have a couple of days to prepare for the next winds that come in, and we're anticipating this. So we have many resources that are currently at the incident and are continuing to trickle in. We've ordered resources from out of the state, around the state, Oregon, Nevada, Texas, and locally around the state. So we have a lot of pre-positioning resources that are coming into the area, not only on the Eaton fire, but also around the southern region. So we're not only preparing for the Eaton with the winds with the structures that are actually within the burned area and protecting those from any kind of harmful effects that can come from them, but also around the southern portion of the state of California. So with that, we're increasing the amount of resources that are coming in, whether it be engines, water tenders, bulldozers, hand crews, and aircraft are also staging in the area. So that way when the weather is in a favorable condition for them safe to fly, they can actually lift off and assist us with anything we need. So with the added resources to the incident, we're going to be doing extra patrols. All the resources on the incident are on 24-hour, around-the-clock days. So that'll provide coverage during the day and at the night. And along with that is our line supervision is also 24 hours a day throughout the duration of the incident. We're also, when the winds pick up, we're actually going to be loading the incident in the harmful areas with additional personnel, whether it be engines, hand crews. Water tenders are a big one because our water system has been affected. So we're actually we have had a plan implemented in order to mitigate that issue.
Thank you guys for that additional information. A lot of inquiries have come in about Sierra Madre. So to speak in regards to what's happening in Sierra Madre, we have Fire Chief Bartlett here that will give an update.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to address our residents in Sierra Madre. Glad that we're hearing some concerns, and hopefully I can address them. Before I do, I want to make sure that I remind our residents that the city will be standing up Facebook Live, town halls, or basically just information daily, starting, we started today, but they'll be going daily between the hours of 10 and 11, depending on basically our resource time, committed through daily of next week on Friday. Basically, real quick scenario for us. We have been able to lift some of the orders and warnings, or convert some of the orders to a warning, and warnings have been cleared. So a brief update on that is basically Everybody above Highland to Grandview remains in evacuation warning. Everybody from Grandview North will remain in an evacuation order. Everybody from Highland Avenue to Orange Grove Avenue is now clear. So residents and businesses are free to go back should they choose to check on their homes, check on their businesses, even operate a business if they so choose. Be aware the air quality, as we've heard already, is not ideal, so take that into consideration. We also may not have power when you return. Take that into consideration as well. Looking through some of the questions as they were pulling up, I know we do have some of the questions, especially our canyons. Those that live in Sierra Madre know how precious those are. Do not have exact totals, but we do have loss in Sierra Madre. We are currently looking at that and assessing it. We will hopefully have some estimated numbers very soon. However, our canyons are there. We may not have every home still there, but the canyons are still intact. The town looks great. I want to thank our community for listening when we did the evacuation orders. I want to thank all of our city partners. We're very blessed. If we look at our neighbors to the left or to the west of us, we're blessed compared to them. So keep them in your prayers, and we'll keep you in our prayers. Please turn to our local updates on Facebook Live for more local information. Thank you.
Thank you for that information. Next, I'm going to bring up one of our incident commanders, Kevin Bohal, is going to respond to a couple questions that came up.
Yeah, the first question that we got was how we were going to utilize some resources that we just received from Mexico. So first of all, we appreciate the support. Second, once we find out the skills and abilities of those resources, we'll find tasks that are appropriate and put them to work where applicable within the skills and abilities that they hold. So we have to find that out first, but we absolutely appreciate the support and we'll utilize them. The second one is, what is the plan for when the rains come? Is there a plan for mudslides? So obviously in this area, one of the things that does happen is you get large amounts of rain in a short period of time. You can have debris flows. We've seen like Montecito, things like that in the past. So what we do is we bring in a watershed emergency response team, which has already been ordered. I've already made that contact. And they come out and they do an assessment of the burned area. So what they do is they look at soil type, burn severity, things like that, and they assess what sort of debris flows we're going to have if we get a certain amount of water coming off of the mountain at a certain time. Once they get that assessment, we give it to the local EOC, and they work through together, and they come up with what the mitigations are going to be so that we don't have any damage to the values at risk again, or the values impacted after we get those rainfalls in the event that we get those rainfalls that could cause debris flows. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Next, I'm going to bring back up Captain Williams with the LA County Sheriffs to respond to some of your questions that you had.
I just wanted to answer a few questions. I understand there was a question about whether or not they're letting people into the evacuation areas, even if they have ID and can prove that they're residents of of Altadena. At this point, it's still, even if you have ID and can prove it, we are not letting people into the area, and several reasons for that. It's still not considered safe. There's debris in the road. There's still active fires in certain spots, certain places. There's wires down throughout the streets, and as they provide maintenance on these wires, they could become electrified, and we don't want anyone to get hurt. As of right now, our main priority is the safety of the public. I understand this is some trying times. And at the Sheriff's Department, we really feel for everyone that's dealing with this situation. But our utmost priority right now is public safety, and keeping people out of what's considered a danger zone is important for us. There was also a question about the curfew. There is a mandatory curfew in place. It's going to begin 6 p.m. today, and it's going to be 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. every day. We have this in place for enhancing public safety, to protect structures, and also to prevent looting and burglaries. The less people we have in an area, the better we are to protect it. There are some repercussions. If you are caught, you will be arrested. You will be hard booked, and you are subject to a $1,000 fine or jail time. So I just want to reiterate, there will be a mandatory curfew in place starting 6 p.m. tonight, going through 6 a.m. every day, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. There was a question about will we have continued support from our law enforcement, and the answer to that is yes. That includes the National Guard. They are actively in place now, and they are helping to protect assets and to help with road closures. So we will have continued support for the Sheriff's Department. I think that's all I have for those questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, there's been several questions come up about power and utilities, so I'm going to bring back out the operations chief with the LA County Power, as well as we have Pasadena Power and Water.
David Reyes, Interim General Manager for Pasadena Water and Power. We stand with our residents, as Chief Augustine stated, devastation that we can only imagine. And those of you that have lost your homes and have been evacuated, we feel for you. Currently, we have about 395 known outages out of 65,000 accounts. So our system is held up incredibly well. We're very proud of our linemen and the staff at PWP and all the work that they've done. And they're here for you, our residents of Pasadena. With respect to water, we do have on our city website, I want to state it for you, please, pwp.cityofpasadena.net. There is a map. That map identifies an area in which we are recommending that you do not drink the tap water. You can bathe, you can take a shower, do not drink it. Boiling it does not help, in our opinion, and rather be safe than sorry. We expect to have additional information when the water will be safe to drink later next week, and we'll provide regular updates to our community through our website. That's PWP, the Pasadena website that I stated earlier. There was another question about where exactly, if it coincided with the evacuation zones, just because, as Chief Augustine stated, we are repopulating our areas in Pasadena. That does not mean the water is safe to drink. So we would remind you to please go to pwp.cityofpasadena.net, identify the map, and if you have any questions, you can call the number listed there. Outside of that area, we have no reason to believe that the water is not safe to drink. We've been testing it regularly. However, if you turn your water on and you find that it is gray, or otherwise has soot, we would encourage you not to drink. The City of Pasadena partnered with LA County today, and we distributed over 1,000 water bottles in a 4-hour period for those affected folks at 470 North Lake Avenue at the corner of Lake and Villa Street. We will do it again tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Anybody that needs water can come on by and we'll give you a case of water to use in the meantime. We're working overnight, literally, day and night to get the system back up and running. We are very proud, as I said, of our staff and the work that they've done. They're working hard for the community, and we expect to have additional information early next week. We would anticipate that at least through Monday, those orders will be in effect. Do not drink if you're within the zone identified on the map. Thank you very much.
Hi, Mark Pastrella again, and I want to thank the City of Pasadena Water and Power for their partnership. And as was stated, we've today joined forces and we've been delivering bottled water, and we will continue to do so through the event. We will have future drop-off areas for that as well, and those will be announced. For some residents that aren't served by Pasadena Water and Power in the fire zone area, one place that you can find quickly who is your water company, you can go to water4la.com, water4la.com, and you can find out lots of information about your water system and specifically who delivers water to you. There are 3 or 4 water agencies in the fire zone area, some large, some small. LA County doesn't actually serve retail water in the area, but we are coordinating the water agencies in their delivery to them. We are also providing support to the water agencies as they repair their filtration systems in the smaller water systems, and specifically the districts that are serving Altadena. Thank goodness for Pasadena Water and Power. They have been sharing across an intertie to these small areas and have kept the water flowing throughout the event, both for fire suppression as well as for domestic use. Again, the drinking water, and we re-emphasize it again, the drinking water is not something we recommend you drink. And in fact, we've been given orders by the state not to have people drink the water at this time. Someone has had a question. It's the inevitable question, when can we get back and when will the debris be removed? The County of Los Angeles intends to enroll in the state program for debris removal. We will be seeking state support for the debris removal. That program involves utilizing homeowners' property insurance, a portion of it that is designated for debris removal, and bringing that, submitting that forward to create a collective contract with the state, in which the state then brings in vendors, and those vendors properly clean the debris. And when I say properly, we first go in and actually analyze the soil to make sure that it's not toxic. We remove any toxic materials, and then the state will come with their contractors and remove and bring the site clean the site to a point that it's ready for reconstruction. It's a good program, and it's one that the county's proud to work with the cities that have been impacted across Southern California to prepare to remove the massive amount of debris that has to be disposed of properly. So that's the first step in our process of recovery for you. You will hear more about this in the coming weeks, where to sign up, how to sign up, and also the timing of it as we put this program together. Unfortunately, LA County has gotten pretty good at this because we've been the fiduciary and the coordinator of this program for 3 different fires so far, significant fires so far. So we're pretty good at it. And I think you're going to find that this is going to give you some relief to know that your site's going to be cleaned up and free of toxics and ready for reconstruction in a very short period of time. That's what I have on debris removal at this time. Thank you.
Thank you guys for that information. I'm going to bring back up Captain Williams again, who has some clarifications that he'd like to get out.
Hi again. I just want to clarify some things regarding the mandatory curfew in place. The jurisdiction is going to be anything that's considered an ordered evacuation area. Now, I know some people may be trying to figure out how you can find out if you are in a mandatory evacuation area. The best way of doing it is going on protectgenesis.com. That's protectgenesis.com. I'll spell it out. Protect, Protect. Genesis is spelled GENASYS.com.
Can you spell that again?
Yes. Protect, Protect. Genesis, GENASYS.com. Just check that. You could type in your address. It'll let you know if your residence or business is in that mandatory evacuation zone. Again, that curfew is only in place for those that are within that evacuation zone. I know there are power outages throughout Altadena in the certain areas. We are ramping up extra patrols due to that. So we are out there doing extra patrols to assist. And anyone caught violating that mandatory curfew, sorry, been a long day. Anybody violating that mandatory curfew subject to arrest with a $1,000 fine and or jail time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, there's been some inquiries in regards to Altadena. I'm going to bring up Victoria Knapp, who's with the town council, to address that.
Hi again. I just wanted to communicate that we're seeing online that Altadena feels very ignored. That is not the case. The problem we have in Altadena, as most Altadenans know, is there is no central communication department. So every person that's in this building and in this room right now is here to help Altadena. It just takes us some time to coordinate all of the efforts, and because we're so decentralized, to find a way to get the information to you. So please know that this town council is working with everyone that's in this room and beyond to make sure that Altadena is connected to the resources it needs to be able to begin to heal. I just want to make it clear that I lost my home, and I know how you're feeling, and I feel disconnected, as connected as I am. But we are going to get you the information. Please follow us on the AltadenaTownCouncil.org website, where we will list the information for the gathering that we are trying to plan once we find a place. Thank you.
So that's going to conclude our meeting tonight with question and answers. I just want to go through some important websites to remind you guys of. SCE.com, so your Southern Cal Edison. And then we have SoGas.com, so that's SoCalGas, SOCAL gas.com /fires to get information in regards to this incident, as well as lacounty.gov /emergency, where you can get some water alerts. I'd like to say thank you guys for joining us tonight. I know there was lots of questions in regards to hazard materials and stuff. We did not have anybody here tonight, but we'll be addressing those questions as we get the answers to them. So please go to the website for Angeles National Forest, as well as LA County Fire, to get the information as we get it in regards to the hazmat. Thank you for joining us, and have a good evening.